thing the kids don't really understand is, I want to ask you a question. I ask this question all the time. What was the feeling like when they said life or guilty and then life in prison? What was that feeling like? What on you mentally? Like, how did you feel to hear that?
First thing was denial. Denial set in. Like, nah, this ain't. And then I think to myself, I say, well, damn, life is 20 years. I was under that impression. 20 or 25 years, But it was just like, it was denial. I couldn't, I don't think it actually set in until I got upstate.
He talk about that all the time.
But this goes to some questions that I wanted to ask him. When they came and got you and you made the bond, you posted bail, how old was you then?
21.
Oh, so you was young. Yeah. You was relatively young.
21,
yeah.
20 years old.
You was 21 years old. So the day, when you stayed an extra day too long and they came and got you, you was still 21.
Yeah, like 20, 21.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, with that being asked, upon going in there, did they send you like upstate road? That's where you had to wait to do your trial at and all that stuff like that? Okay.
Was that Holmesburg at the time?
Holmesburg, yeah.
Okay.
Holmesburg. I went from Holmesburg to Pick.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so now, how long exactly did it take you to go to trial? You had to sit on State Road for you to go fight this.
I want to say about no longer than 6 months.
Man, that was fast. They worked it fast back then.
Yeah, they was getting.
Now them homicides, you be sitting on State Road 4 years.
Yeah, 2, 3 years.
I had 2 homicides, and I sat for 3.5 years.
Yeah, like 6 months. I was, on trial.
So now, like my brother said, okay, he asked you, you was in denial once you lost trial and you was sentenced, and it was an actual life sentence that they gave you.
Yeah.
You was in denial. So now you go through the process of being ready to be transferred to a state facility.
Right.
Because the county jail is not where you would do life at.
No.
And this is what we tell the audience. That's just a holding facility until whatever the outcome of the case is. Now, upon you getting upstate, going to, how they say, because I've never been upstate before, going like they were saying that Camp Hill was intake.
Yeah. At that time, it was between Camp Hill and Graterford.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did it dawn on you? At what point of the 34 years did you come to you in your mind and say, I'm in prison? I'm really in a place that I was never at in my life.
When I got transferred, I got kicked out of Graterford. Because Graterford was like no other. It was wide open. You wasn't in jail at Graterford. Only thing you couldn't do was leave.
And Graterford, so this I hear a lot of these stories. People had gaiters on and
yeah.
And they
was real money in their pocket.
Real money, Rolexes, gators, whatever. It was the streets. Only thing you couldn't go out and get in your car and leave. Women, if you was that boy and you could pay, or you was just that boy, your women, you walk your women down the hallway for you. And you meet up somewhere. So sex wasn't nothing.
So they was in there. So I'm assuming it was drug.
Everything.
Women, drugs, jewelry. You said the only thing you couldn't do was hop in your car and leave.
That's it.
But I want you to continue about when did you realize that you was in adult jail with grown men that's violent men?
I realized it when, like I said, they kicked me out of Graterford and sent me up to Greene County Prison. Greene County Prison.
That was life present?
The border of Ohio. And when this day I hit that prison is when I realized that I got life. They want me to die in prison, and it's time to fight. Because my first 4 to 5 years, all I was doing was dishing out money to lawyers. That's all I was doing. But when I got there and everything was taken and stripped, it's time, okay, this is where you at, and this is where you're going to be at. Where you in a place where them white folks ain't never seen a black man.
Yeah. And I'm quite sure that out of 34 years, you done had your, because when I came in and was young, I didn't have no education when I came in. I say that a lot. I got in education in prison.
Yeah.
So I had to, but it came to a point that was, though I was 8, 9 years into my bid, like, hold up. I'm actually going home one day. I don't want to leave out the same way I grew up.
Right.
And I want to ask you, and you tell the fans and the audience, like, how was time for you in there? Like overall, like 34 years, like I know you seen some wild things, man. Like a man told us, Wallow told us, when he said when he went to the showers and he seen 30, 40 men, and we talking about not in the SCIs, in them penitentiaries, and it was normal. They was in there talking, washing up to each other. What happened in the game? Oh, I called my girl, like, and they butt naked.
Butt naked, yeah.
And like, this is like, how did that affect you? Like when you was going through this, like you're seeing this, like is it something? Because I tell them from my point of view that you got to departmentalize in your mind. Exactly. You got to become what this environment is, just to make it. So, but I want to know from you, like, how did you departmentalize? What did you do to get through every day?
Well, first and foremost, you know, I'm gonna let it be known. You know, once I accepted Islam, you know,
heavy.
Islam gave me an outlook on life that was totally different.
Alhamdulillah.
You know, how to, you know, deal with certain situations, what I had to do to deal with them, what I had to do to get out of them. You know what I'm saying? So that's cut. You know, Islam was the basis of what gave me what I needed. So, but like he said, you know, going in these areas, you know, dudes taking showers, butt naked, you just learn how to, you know, you learn how to maneuver and flow, because first and foremost, it's your survival. You got to survive. And if you're a survivor, you know, that's all you know to do.
Yeah.
So now you put things together to move the way you need to move. You keep your circle tight, and you stay out of people's business. You mind your business, and do you. You know what I'm saying? So I just lived it like that, man. I just, you know, people will tell you that knew me when I first came in to now, they say, man, you still the same. You know what I mean? And I give all praise to Allah and Islam for giving me that.
Let me ask you a question. Another question. How old were you when you took your shahada? And what you know, Allah makes Muslims, but what was it for you that you felt guided you or brought you to Islam?
Well, before I left the streets, and I just told this story to one of my mentees, little brother I mentor. Before I left the streets, we all know that Masjid Allah was on Ogas Avenue at the time.
Yeah.
And there was a sneaker store across the street.
Yeah, I remember that. Next to the deli.
Right. And that's where I used to go get my sneakers.
Yeah.
You know, I had a personal relationship with dude. He would call me if anything new and put it to the side, I'll come get it. So this particular day I went. And before that, I was, you know, curious about Islam. You know what I mean? Because where I grew up at in the Strawberry Mansion area, there was Muslim families, you know, moving around. So I always was curious about Islam, but I never would ask questions. You know, I just see how the Muslims was moving and, you know, things was going on. So at this particular time, I went to go get these sneakers. And I came out the sneaker store, and I just stopped, and I looked at the masjid. And I was like, man, you should go in. You know, you should go in. You know, we had the Motorola beepers at the time. My beeper went off. I looked, I said, I gotta go. And I went to jail like right after that.
Wow.
So when I went to jail, I was in the county, and I was in Holmesburg, and they used to come around, the Christians would come around with these pamphlets. They gave you these pamphlets. And a couple of guys came in and gave me, a Bible. Here, brother, you know. So I'm sitting there, you know, I'm reading this stuff. I'm reading. I'm looking, I'm like, man, this ain't me. But I was raised a Baptist. You know, my father was a deacon in the church up until the day he died. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sitting there and I'm reading this stuff, and it's not doing nothing for me. It's not fulfilling, you know, my questions and the questions that I had in my mind. So fast forward, I was kicked out of Holmesburg and sent to Pick. One of my codees was over at Pick, and they put me in a cell with him. Now, mind you, he was FOI, but at that time, they were praying like the Salafis, you know, going, you know, bowing down. So I woke up one night and he was prostrating. He was praying. So I asked him, I was like, what you doing? He said, I pray. I'm praying 5 times a day. So I'm asking him questions, but he can't answer the question. So he go get a brother who's upon the Sunnah. And that brother was telling me, you know, what was going on. So I asked, could I read the Quran? And the day I picked up the Quran and started reading it, I knew that's where I needed to be. So I was 22, 23 when I took my shahada.